Traders, stop stressing over the S&P 500. Get structured daily outlooks, levels and actionable setups for ES futures delivered before the market opens, plus weekly insights on crypto, stocks, and commodities. Subscribe today on Substack. Conquer the markets.
Yo, what's up? Hang on one second. This is my first time using this platform, so got to figure out how to work this orientation here. My apologies. Let's see what we can do. Oh, there we are. How's everybody doing? All right. So bear with me. This is my first time trying this stream, and I'm using a new application called StreamYard. So I'm going to be fumbling around a little bit as we figure this out. But today was ridiculous. I don't know about you guys, but the S&P was kind of crazy today. So we had this monstrous gap up, and then we just grind higher all day. It's crazy. But first and foremost, before we get started, I know a lot of people are here for two specific reasons. One, we're doing a 30-day promo giveaway for our Substack as we are promoting this S&P Edge, this post-market breakdown. So I posted a link in Twitter and on Substack notes. So go in there, click on the link, sign up. I'll get you guys activated, and you'll get your first trade plan tomorrow. And you got 30 days on the house. Doesn't require anything but just an email. So got you there. The other thing that I know people are very interested in is winning a free prop firm evaluation. So I partnered with Earn to Trade, and we've got some 50K evaluations to give away. So I'm going to be giving away one away every single day. So all you have to do is go to the same tweet or Substack notes and click on the link and just put your email in and enter to win. And I will announce the winner live tomorrow when we do this again. So looking forward to all that. So that's the important business, and we got that out of the way. So let's just dive right into it. So this market is just insane. We have been super bullish for a long time. We have our overall high time frame target at 69.50. We've talked about this throughout the publication many times. I've tweeted about it, so on and so forth. And let me show you why. Let's just get right into it. Now, let me see if I can figure out how to use this application here. Hang on. Let's try this. Let's see what we got. Share screen. Okay. Let's do the entire screen. And we'll do this one. All right. Whoop, there we go. Looking good. All right, so let me just hide myself over here. All right, so here's the deal, guys. For all you guys who follow me, and you know I'm a huge value trader. I really like the profile, the market profile. And so I just want to talk about why I keep talking about 69.50. There's a couple of reasons. First and foremost is my process, okay? And my process has to do with essentially imbalances and value areas and just looking to see an efficient market. So, I talked about this in the weekend review, and let's just kind of go over this before we, move on. This cycle continues to repeat itself over and over again. Okay. So what we have here is essentially, the market, what they do is they move up and they balance, and then they accept value and they push up again. Okay. And as you can see, we did this about a month ago in July. We balanced for how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. And then we got our push up. And then what happens? Then we sit up here and we go sideways and we do the same thing again. Okay. So here we are essentially for the last month. We sat here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in this massive range, and we pushed up again. No surprise here. Okay, guys, no surprise. We've talked about this over and over again in the Substack publication. All right. But one of the biggest cues here that we were going to continue to move forward or move higher was this weekly right here. You guys see this? We have a massive value area low down here, and they had no value area high, right? And so for me, this represents a massive bullish imbalance, which means that we need to push higher to essentially make this an efficient market. Well, I've been moving this up as we go, but ultimately this came all the way down to here, which was this humongous bullish imbalance all the way up to 69.50. So this is where I truly believe we are headed. For those of you guys who follow along all the time, know that these imbalances play out like butter. and they're good. And so here we go, and we're marching up, and really we're within spitting distance now of this. We're like 30 points away. Not to mention the other big factor, okay? And this is something I actually learned from a guy about the JPM collar. So, JP Morgan puts on this monster collar to essentially hedge their positions, and their top strike is essentially a magnet, and their top strike on SPX is 69.50. Now, I know that there's a slight discrepancy between SPX and ES, but regardless of the fact, we're awful close. It's like within 30 points generally most of the time. Actually, I can tell you where it's at right now. 68.75, and we're at 69.15. So we're exactly 30 points off, right? So, this thing's a heat-seeking missile up into this area, and then we'll see what happens. Right now we have a lot of reasons to be bullish. People are talking about how this is like the craziest bubble. And yes, I agree. We're up like 35, 40% from April lows. And so it's really hard to get excited about buying up here. But the thing is, guys, is, we have no reason to try to fade this. I see a lot of guys losing money trying to fade this, et cetera. And all things are pointing to more up. So if you look at it like this, yes, we are technically in this tech-driven AI bubble right now. But that's fine because we don't know when it's actually going to burst. Right now, we are still writing this. People are still very excited. There's a lot of, companies that haven't even started making money from this stuff. And that's coming. And, everywhere we look, AI is the talk of the town. Now, we know that a lot of this market is driven off the Magnificent Eight or whatever you want to call it. And so things are pumped up. But if you look at the overall stock market, the market's lagging a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of stocks that are down 20, 30%. And we can continue, to drift higher as those stocks start to come higher. So, it's like they say, like a rising tide raises all ships, right? And so this is the similar concept that we have here. So we have FOMC coming out soon. And, they're going to lower rates. And, they've already announced the fact that they were going to do it 2 more times this year. I know there's some debate on that either way, but think about it like this, okay? So we had hot PMI numbers come in. First time we've had news in a month, and it came in hot. And that the market loved it. They bought it up. Why? Because it's one more reason for them to secure the fact that we're going to get a rate cut. Okay. Cheaper money means that companies can borrow money at less cost, and it jacks things up. So, it gives them a reason to, push prices up. Also, another really important thing that I want to point out to you guys, and I have posted this in the Substack. I suggest you look at it. It's in the Twitter. We've talked about it. We had a golden cross in August, and the golden cross is the big boy golden cross. It's only happened 15 times in the history of the market. It's when the 100-day crosses the 200-day. And the numbers on these returns are outrageous. I mean, it's like every time period going back since this has happened, we're looking at 15 to 30% gains over the next year or two. So as much as you don't like this rally, as much as it's the most hated rally of all time, you just got to buy it. We got to dig in and buy it and just grin and bear it. Who cares? Right? We're trading the chart. It is what it is. And so I wanted to throw those things out at you real quick so that you kind of get a concept of the overall macro, view of this. We've got this, and don't forget the other thing. Now all of a sudden, and Trump's back and forth like, oh, we're in a trade war with China. Oh, no, we're not. And they keep taco trading everybody. They scare us. They drop 100, 150 points, and they buy it right back up. He changes his mind one Sunday, him and Bensett or whatever the hell his name is. I don't know. But these guys are playing the game. They're manipulating the markets, and even so, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, the chart is pointing up, and that's just how we have to look at it right now. So this is the biggest thing, guys. I mean, this is my upside target. We've talked about this for a while. And, one of the things I thought was really interesting was I actually posted some gamma levels that I put in the outlooks every morning. And I use these these things are spot on. I'll show you this. Check this out. So we had this massive call wall at 69.11 this morning. And when you're moving upside like this, these things become like a heat-seeking missile, right? And so, right now, I don't know if you guys can see. Let's just go ahead and pull this over. I'll pull my 4-hour down so you can take a look. We basically came right up into the 69.11. This was our upside target for now, okay? So we still have a lot higher to go. Now, these options levels are going to change tomorrow. But this was a great place for them to end the day, which was where the majority of the calls were resting. And it puts the dealers in a good position. Now, what's going to happen tomorrow? It is really hard to say. Okay. But one thing I think we can all, agree on that is probably more up. All right. Now, is the market getting weak? Maybe. What are they going to do? I don't know. But I will tell you this. I know I personally didn't take any trades today. I mean, we were almost laughing about it in the room today. And I'll just kind of show you my thought process on the day. So we had this monstrous, 50-point gap up after we already had gapped up from CPI. My thought process today was, okay, cool. Like we opened right here, like let's pull back in and play what Globex gained and I'll get long. And I'll just get long all day. I'll hold this joint, no problem, right? And it didn't work out the way I planned, right? So they open here, they pop up, they make a new all-time high, they pull back into the open and then they just go, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll buy VWAP or I'll buy the open if they come down. This is what I wanted to buy. The open, we had 1 hour support here. Never happened. It got close to VWAP, didn't even get VWAP, and just kind of went. And after that, it was done. And so we just had this grind all day up where, it's one of those days. And I saw this funny tweet today about how, like, I know where it was going to go, but I couldn't get on. I mean, that was me, 1,000%. I mean, I had a hard time buying the gap on the gap up and, without a pullback. But some days are like that. So with that being said, right now we don't really have any sort of resistance to the upside. I'm essentially using options levels as markers, to essentially take profits or, to use, to go back and forth to understand where we're at in context of the market and ultimately targeting our 69.50 area. Okay. So we went over a lot of this stuff in the weekend review. Not today's price action, obviously, but the areas where we're looking to buy. And, the best of the best, obviously, is down here around 68.05, 67.88. This is where the goods are at, right? Even 67.74. I love this spot. But more importantly, the 67.38 daily leg up. All this is a buy, all of it, if we can just get a pullback. But again, are they going to do it? It's hard to say. With the news that's coming out. And now, I mean, you guys know over the weekend, we had this, monster gap up and, I saw on Twitter, everybody's like, oh, gap down. This is a blow off top, blah, blah, right? Never going to happen, right? No, not right now. Okay. So, now they've called off the tariffs for November 1st through China. They've already removed that from the plan. Now we're in good graces with them and things continue to push higher. So FOMC rate cut will be our next catalyst for this push. Now, how high after 69.50 do we go? It's really hard to tell. Right now, this, somewhere in this vicinity cleans us up for as far as market efficiencies and meets the JPM collar, which has been pretty spot on for the past year or two. So with that being said, that's what we're looking at for more up. So, I wish I had more context here. Right now we are just pushing. So I thought this would be great to talk about as, we're continuing to drift higher. People think this is just too much. I actually had a call from a guy today right before I got on. They're comparing this to the .com bubble and they're giving me all these percentages and all that jazz. And again, I'm first to admit that this is crazy. I mean, look at this daily chart. So I trade the RTH session, as many of you guys know. I trade the cash session. This is what I'm interested in. This is a daily cash session. This thing looks incredible, right? And here's the ETH session. I mean, this thing looks unbelievable. But again, all we're doing right now is the same thing that we've continued to do over and over again, which is balance in a massive area, push up, accept value, and do it all over again. This thing is designed to go up. And so there's no reason to continue to look for shorts unless they're just scalps. I mean, this thing, the chances of this thing getting demolished is really low. And, at the end of the day, we're still riding this 50-day. And here's something I pointed out, and I really like this chart. Rob actually made me these charts. He's my partner in the room. These are like from SMB. These are VWAP charts. And so right now, I mean, this just gives you a concept of where we're at with value. So this is the yearly VWAP down here is 60.58. This is the one standard deviation, which is usually good for bounces. If you're trending, we're well above this. We're trending off the 50-day, and we continue to bump our head on the second deviation VWAP on the yearly, which is crazy. But this thing doesn't look like it's going to come down anytime soon. And like I said, even if we come down 100 points, this is still a buy. I mean, I want to buy almost 200 points lower. 67.38 is the daily leg up. I couldn't be more happier to come down and play this area right here. Now, I'll show you on the ETH chart. It's cleaner. I only got one line on there. 67.37 on the ET. This is our next daily leg up. This is the next massive support to the all-time high. This is the big boy. Now, granted, we've got some top-down stuff that I showed you, earlier on the other one, but ultimately, we can, as long as we stay above this on the daily time frame, this is a big deal. And for those of you guys who've been following along, you guys know that on last Thursday, we talked, I was initially bearish when I put the outlook out, okay? And I basically said, hey, listen, this thing is looking a little soft. And then I go to meditate, come back, and we are above 67.32. And the first thing I put out was, listen, if we're above 67.32, this thing's going to run. And we did. We literally opened right above it, and we ran hard as hell. Okay, so just to show you guys from a cash session chart, because it looks so much different, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Let's trade this out a little bit. There we go. All right. This is the 67.32. This takes out all the back and forth in here. Okay, so here we go. We smacked off of this weekly, came down. We held this 06. We and then we get above the 32, and they just broke out and went. And we've been pushing up ever since as we continue to make these new highs. And so this day, I was willing to buy all this. That was Friday, and then we gapped up again. So as we continue to push higher, of course, our support continues to get thinner and thinner as we move up. But again, all we can do is look for it to lose something and then reclaim. That's about what we got. So very interesting times we're dealing with here. Very interesting price action that we're dealing with. And so, it's been an adventure for sure. Today for me was non-fruitful, but for options guys, man, for Theta Burn, my gracious, they must have checked the bag today. So that's good stuff. So that's what I got for the S&P. I thought you guys would have fun with that. Obviously, again, with our current location, it's a little tough, to continue to talk about this. So let's talk about some things that I really think are important. For those of you guys who know me very well, you guys know I'm a big Bitcoin guy, love Bitcoin, and I love crypto. So, with that being said, I have gotten, I've been playing in crypto probably since 2014, 2015. And, I've had a chance to, play in the shit coins, playing all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, really what matters is Big Bitty. And so I want to talk about Big Bitty with you guys. I charted this out for you. I think we have a really good buy coming up. And I think this thing, let's just talk about this. All right. So we talked about this 102,400 level long time before it got here. I was talking about this months, okay, before we actually touched it. And what caused us to touch it was the Trump China nonsense that basically wiped out all of the crypto space. It just destroyed everyone, as you guys know. There was so many people that got wrecked. Just disgustingly wrecked. And the real main reason for it was, look at this, with the, well, I don't know why the exchanges to that, but the real main reason that we came down and played this was the volatility from Trump. And this was a perfect wing play for you guys that trade with me. This is right textbook out of the course. This is a wing play off the monthly. And this trade really can take us back to all-time highs. Right now, it did its job. And we went from monthly to monthly, and then we, held and came back here. So right now, this is test. So we popped a new high, and they've started to make a wing play on the lower time frame. And I think this thing could present up a pretty good buy opportunity. Now, there's some buys lower, of course. I went ahead and recharted, but didn't do it for you guys here because I am under the assumption that this is more than likely going to hold. And I really like this trade. We could have came down and swept this into this weekly at 100,000, let's just call it 101, and we didn't. We held this perfectly to the touch, which is a big deal for me. And as you can see, the 15,770 is a monster for above below. So we really need to keep tabs on this level. But I'm really liking this for a trade. So I have IBIT pulled up too, and we're going to talk about that in combination with as well. And we're going to talk about ETH too, because for me, what I do is, I can look at just Bitcoin, but it's kind of like stocks. Like I like to marry a few things together to kind of get an overall bias. And so right now, what I'm looking for Bitcoin is if we come down, we have two levels that I'm really interested in, 110,500 or 535, and really the weekly at 108,224. Okay, so it really needs to hold this here. If it doesn't, she's in trouble. Okay, but I think that we have a very good potential of this holding here. I love this pattern. We've created a move to the low. Now we've come up, we made a new high. If we come down here and we hold this area, this being number one, but this being the second one and the most important, we really could get a nice push to the all-time highs. And if they cut rates again, it's going to look very promising for that to happen. So, right now, I think the market is, betting heavily that this is actually going to happen. So let's go ahead and take a look at IBIT, and I'll show you my thought process here. Okay. So IBIT also is interesting because the Trump tweet that sent us down during, for the China thing, this was the same exact monthly, weekly level, but we didn't get to it because it was done in after hours and IBIT was closed, right? So they actually missed it. They came back down here. This was the retest, and we pushed back up. Now, the other big fact, I forgot to show you this. The other reason why I think that this is good is check this out. This is my weekly support to my all-time high. That is the big boy, okay? Right here. We never closed below it. They tried twice. They got down here twice, got underneath it, and both times they were able to hold above it. That is a big sign for me. And so as long as they stay above this, as long as we retest this area, I think this can come all the way back up at least to our 119.2 or 23,484 spot. So back to the IBIT whole ordeal here. So this is the spot that didn't play. And then this right here is our monster weekly that we need to stay above. You can clearly see that they've held this, okay? So if they come down in here, we have a top down here at 63.49 that I really like. And I would be willing to probably average into this a little bit. And then we've got the 61.44 weekly, which is basically the same thing as this weekly here that needs to hold. Okay. So that would be this top down at 110.535 on IBIT, looking at this right here. Okay. The 63.49. And then also the weekly at 108.224. Same spot here for the 61.44, 61.83 area right in here, general vicinity. Okay, so love that. All right, now let's just kind of marry this concept over with ETH real fast. Okay, now, my boy Piper's got me in some ETH right now. I was a little frustrated. We made some new all-time highs. I've actually staked my ETH, and here's the crazy bullshit, right? So I staked the ETH, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. And when I get into it, they're all like, oh yeah, 3-day staking period. I'm like, sweet, I can do that, no problem. 3 days. Legit. Okay. I can unstake and still, sell it when I need to. Right. So apparently everybody started to unstake and withdraw, and they changed the protocol. Now you got to wait 48 days to unstake. 48. So I've been waiting since September 28th. It's not even been a month yet. It'll be a month tomorrow. So, I'm looking at this and it looks okay. And I hope this continues to move up, and it actually looks pretty solid. So this is what I was getting at. So right now we've come down, we've held this major weekly leg to the all-time high, and they continue to hold this monthly support. Let's go ahead and take a look at these monthlies that I'm eyeing over here. Okay. And this monthly is really what I like, the fact that they held this 3,700. You can see they came down, they played it twice and really held it nice. But we have this monster weekly right here at 4,300 that's in the way. Now, when you pull back and look at this, we played this leg, we've held it, we've come down, and we haven't lost this leg to the all-time high yet. This thing actually looks like it could be primed to go. Okay. Now, we have obviously this major monthly right here at 3,700, which is the big tell. But the other end of the spectrum is they just popped up. They've gained the move. They've gained this daily here. If they pull back and play this 4,000 or even this 38.92, this could be a nice retest right here. I actually like this spot quite a bit. As you can see, I have an alarm here, and I think this is worth a buy. I really do. So, with that being said, I still think Bitcoin is bullish. I still think Ethereum is bullish. Ethereum's next untested weekly is 4,500. But given the fact that they've held everything, I don't see a reason why this can't make new all-time highs. Ultimately, again, the time frame, there's no way to know. But as long as they hold this weekly here and continue to hold this monthly on this bullish structure, this thing's going to zoom. And it will really just match the rest of the risk assets that are going on right now. And so, coming over here, I'll just show you what it looks like in Ethereum and ETHA. So same concept essentially. And here it is right here. Let me move this up. So there is your spot right there, $30.28. We come down in here. That is ultimately our spot here at 4K. Okay, and see what happens. I mean, that's what we got. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how that plays out. And that's what I got for you for crypto. Now I want to throw one last thing out there for you because I think it's important. This has been a big topic of discussion. We've been talking about it in the room quite a bit, and that's gold. Gold went on this ridiculous rampage that everybody is fully aware of. I mean, this was a 30% move. And, we're finally starting to get a pullback, which is awesome. Now, where do we buy? Well, a lot of people were buying way up here in the $4,000 range. But I do think we still come down a little bit. Right now I am eyeing this $3,900 area, even the 3,870 area. I like this, and it matches up really nice on the GLD ETF. And so with that being said, I mean, are we going to come all the way down here? You never know, right? You never know. But this is the massive area of support that they built and pushed up. This was the current leg that they've already held, popped, and come down. So this is our next section where we're coming into. So between 3,870 and 3,900, basically we're going to get some love. It seems like it's a lot more defined right here at 355 on the spider. So, do with it as you will, but that's essentially what I got for you guys. So we've talked about Bitcoin, we've talked about Ethereum, and we talked about this crazy market of S&P that we're dealing with. So, and now we've talked about gold. So with that being said, I've had a really good time with you guys, and we'll look forward to doing this again tomorrow. So my plan is to do this every day, Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock. We're going to go over the price action for the S&P. I'm going to talk some stocks, crypto, Bitcoin, whatever it is. It's on in tune. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Definitely subscribe to the Twitter or to the Substack. It's free. It's 30 days. Go to the tweet, subscribe to or like and follow me on Twitter. And, sign up for this stuff. I'm going to give away a prop firm evaluation. You might as well win it. I'm giving away 30-day subscriptions to the Substack. It's free money. Right now I have a 5-star review on Trustpilot. Everybody raves about, the technical analysis, and it's my superpower. So I'm here to share it with you. It's free. Come get it. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. So enjoy and have a great evening. Cheers.